Hello, this is the TradeState U.S. Stocks, Futures, and Forex Market Preview for Sunday, the 5th of December, 2021, ending Friday, the week of the 10th Friday of December. So this is going to be interesting. Obviously, the markets were down hard on Friday, and now we're showing that the cryptocurrencies have dropped almost 20% over the weekend, which is not good for the stock market either, obviously. So what does that mean? We get a big down day in the markets? Don't know, but it could be very much that way. Doesn't look pretty, so we won't know until the futures open on Sunday, but nothing pretty is going on here as inflation stuff gets mixed up a bit when Powell said that he might actually start looking at inflation as real, although I don't buy that it is myself personally. I think it's transitory, but we'll see what they do from there. Here's the dollar index daily chart. So as you can see, we basically did nothing for the week. It was actually a boring week in Forex, 2 days without triggers, and nothing we can do beyond that. The euro dollar didn't do much either. Net. We'll look at the intra week action in a few minutes. The pound dollar here near new lows, only moved down on Thursday. Basically, the Aussie dollar broke down late on Friday. So the dollar getting stronger, the Aussie getting weaker there. New euro yen, new lows, swept it at least. Pound yen getting near new lows. This is a big one, by the way. This thing breaks the lows from back in March, and then it tested again in July. This is going to be ugly, but this has nothing to do with the dollar index. So we'll see what that leads to and what that means in terms of intra-week action. So here's a look at the euro dollar during the week. I mean, mostly very boring, right? Only 140 pips of range, and that was a spike on Tuesday. And look, if you look at most of the rest of the week, it was only like about 60 pips of range. That's not tradable. Pound dollar, again, this is why we had 2 days of not anything happening. There's a spike again on Tuesday, but still only 160 pips of range. And if you take that spike out, it's really less. So this has not been the most interesting week for Forex. Should be a good time of year for it, but it's not. So I think we had a winner, but that's about it. Nothing super exciting. Here's the ES front month futures contract. This is the daily chart of the broad market in futures form. Obviously, this looks ugly. Nothing pretty about this. We rallied a little bit late Friday, but at the end of the day, Friday we swept the lows of the week. We've rolled over. The red static trend line, which is just a minor point, is down there at 43.75 or 43.80. It's still 120 points down. You're like, oh, that's no big deal. Yeah, that's just the automatic target, right? If it gets worse than that, we will see what happens. Let's go through the major indices from here. Crude down 28 cents to 66.20. So obviously the highs for the year on crude have been in for a while. Gold up 21.20. Not near the highs, basically mid-range for the whole year. Nothing exciting there. The S&P cash lost 38.67. Not near the lows. It did rally late, like I said, but obviously it was a negative week. Just barely on the S&P, more negative on the NASDAQ. I'll show you that in the intra-week action in a few minutes. NASDAQ 100 down 278 points. SOX down 6. Biotech's down 109. So we're heading near the lows of the year on the biotechs. That's not pretty. Russell 2000 down 47 points. And again, we've talked about this. What a range it was in all year. Finally broke out, came back to retest that 2360, failed at that level, and now we're back down lower. And now we're talking about testing the lows that we were in for 10 months. Nothing pretty about that for the economy, because the Russell is obviously important small cap sector for what's going on out there. The Dow down 59 points. Nobody cares about the Dow. It's 30 stocks. TLT, the 20-year bond ETF, was up at $1.82. So bonds up means rates lower. This is the breakout highs on the TLT, so we will see what that leads to moving forward. The advanced client ratio on the NASDAQ, guess what, negative 2305 on Friday, one of the worst 5-6 days of the year. Not good. On the New York, only negative 1495, so not as bad. Still in the deep negative territory, though. Trend closes at 1 exactly, puts the 10-day at 1.15. NASDAQ volume, 5.9 billion shares. Look, obviously we had some great volume this week, especially on the down days, and this is what continues to happen. The advanced decline ratio has been negative consistently for the last 2 weeks. The volume days have been negative days. When we rally a little bit, it doesn't include the advanced decline ratio. we're not having good, strong days from that perspective. And obviously the volume weakens when we rally. So this is not positive for the markets, obviously. The VIX up 2.72. Got higher earlier in the day, but still hitting highs from a while. Apple down $1.92. Amazon down 47.57. Off the highs again. Facebook down $3.55. Google down $19.29. Goldman Sachs down 4.81. Not good there. Netflix down 14.34. So that's fine. Tesla down 69.63. Zoom down 7.83. Peloton down 90 cents. And then Bitcoin. Now here's the deal. This is the big story over the weekend as I'm giving you guys this. So Bitcoin actually, this isn't even showing it properly because it's not including 24 hours of trading, but this thing dipped under 50,000. So we'd gotten all the way up to almost 70, and then we basically had a crash. And if you look at the 5, let's look at the 10, that's fine. But this is still not 24 hours of, actually, let's just look at 24 hours of trading. Let's do it this way. All right, so you've got, right, this is, because remember, Bitcoin trades 7 days a week all the time. This thing dipped, actually it dipped lower, interesting, but it dipped over the weekend pretty low. Big crash in Bitcoin and problems ahead for a lot of the cryptocurrencies. And this is a big significant piece. If they're going to drop 20%, does that mean the stock market is? It literally could mean that, because everything gets tied to the valuations that are out there in these cryptos. And if your cryptos lose, then you got to sell your stocks to pay for those, and that's kind of what's going on. So we will see what happens, but nothing positive there out of the crypto universe. And then put call ratio closed at 1. All right, so let's look at the intra-week action. So 10-minute candles on the ES. And again, look, last Friday was a half day, right? The day before is Thanksgiving, and then so if you look at last Wednesday, we're sitting at 4,700. There's a non-trading day session there for Thanksgiving. Then we gapped down on Friday and sold off, closed at the lows. That was about 45.80, let's call it. Okay, so Monday we gap up, tried to hold it, go higher, didn't matter. Tuesday we gapped down, a little bounce, didn't fill the gap, and then closed at the lows. So now we're negative for the week. Wednesday we gap up, tried to go higher again, and then sold off hard. Now we're at the lows for the week. Thursday's your update. It didn't matter. Like, nobody cared. We shouldn't have we didn't even make calls because you don't get sucked into that nonsense. So, a little bounce there. And then Friday, a small gap up and sold off. The funny thing is, if you really look at all of it, we're only down about 42 points for the week on the ES, and that's not a big thing. Now, if you look at the NASDAQ, you're down more like, well, it's a few hundred points. It's nothing yet. Okay. So this is all prequel to an actual market correction. Don't get super excited, but it feels like there's something coming. And if you're saying, oh, this was such a horrible week because you own stocks or whatever, yeah, you're not getting it. Like, this is nothing yet. So talk to me when we drop 20% and the S&P is back at 3,500 or whatever. Then we'll see. And that's what the cryptocurrencies are showing us potentially a sign of. So it is what it is. In terms of economic data coming out in the week ahead, get to the right week, not much here. So let's just focus on the US stuff, because a lot of the air stuff's nonsense this week. I looked ahead. Nothing on Monday. Unemployment rate out of Switzerland on going into Tuesday. French trade balance. Again, nothing here in the US until the non-farm productivity revised numbers, and the trade balance number will be half size Monday night going to Tuesday for Forex because of the trade balance number here in the US. It's one of our big three. IBD tip economic optimism number at 8 a.m. And then you skip consumer credit, nobody cares. So you're already to Wednesday. Most of the world hasn't done anything that matters. You do have a Bank of Canada rate announcement. You've got JOLTS job openings number here in the US. Crude oil inventories, 10-year bond auction. None of these are going to change the world. Thursday, German trade balance, new loans out of China, like nothing matters. In the weekly initial and continuing jobless claims numbers. Final wholesale inventories here in the US. Natty gas at, it says 8:30, that doesn't seem right. 30-year bond auction, and then we go on. And then on Friday, again, almost nothing here in the US. Industrial production, manufacturing production out of the UK. We've got our CPI, though. That's another one of our big three, so we'll be half size ahead of that. preliminary University of Michigan sentiment, and then we are done. I feel like these numbers are not properly. That's showing the right times. That's interesting. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. If you've not yet taken a trial of our services, feel free to do so. We will help you out for a couple of weeks. It'll be interesting. I do want to focus on the fact that Thursday night going to Friday is a quarterly contract roll for futures. So you know what that means if you've been with us and you've taken the course. And the following week will be triple expiration Friday on the 17th, which includes Wednesday's potential options unraveling. And then the week after that, we head into Christmas and New Year's, and that'll be it for the year. Charts as usual brought to you by eSignal. Have a great trading week.